Hi everybody, it's Claudia from Create with Claudia. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today I'm doing another episode of my Working Our Scraps Off YouTube series. It's just that, it's Working Our Fabric Scraps Off. Every month I do a new and free project. And join me this month as we do something fun for Valentine's Day. Alright, so I put the boxes away. I'm going to show you the red one I did as my tester. Really cute. I love the way it turned out. And yes, it is a little pouch, so you can put something in it for your sweetheart or for yourself. Maybe some flowers or some candy or something like that. And then you can hang it on the wall, and you can make these in any color you want. Like I said, this is red, and today I'm going to show you how to make one with pinks. So the supplies you need are pretty basic, and I'm going to go through those right now. Let me just show you what we need, and hopefully you have everything on hand. I'm guessing you do. Now for the pink one, I decided to use white rickrack, as sort of an embellishment for it. You know, for the strap to hang it, I have some white rickrack left over from a project I did about a year ago. So you need a strip at about 24-25 inches, depending on how long you want that the drop to be when you hang it on the wall. You need enough to make just a little bow, a really cute little bow. Then you need 2 buttons, and I just chose these big white ones. The next thing you're going to need is fabric, the fun part. So what you need to start off with to make the sort of patchwork front of the heart, you need 16 squares cut 2.5 inches. And I've already done that here. Any color, I like to mix them up, as you know, for that scrappy look. So 16 squares cut 2.5 inches. You're going to make a 4x4 grid, basically. Okay, so for the batting, you're going to need 1 piece, and I would use a thinner piece just because you don't want a whole lot of bulk on this hanging pouch, the Valentine's pouch. Just a piece cut about 9.5 by 9.5. And then you're going to need 4 pieces of fabric. Whatever color you want, and I cut these about 10 inches square, and that's because I want a nice big area so I can fit my heart template on it. And the heart template you can find at my website, www.createwithclaudia.com. There is a link in the description. I have a PDF for this one exactly, or you can draw your own or find your own template. There are all kinds of heart shapes. Maybe you want something a little quirkier. It's up to you. You need some other general supplies like scissors, and you're going to need a marking tool. And we are ready to start. This is so easy. It's ridiculous. So here we go. The first thing you're going to do is sew together your patchwork. One of the supplies I forgot to mention was fabric glue. That's if you have it. If you don't, no worries. You can stitch it on. Right now I just got some stitches removed from my thumb. It was not a sewing accident, but I had 3 stitches in my thumb, so I'm not supposed to use it a lot, so I can't hand stitch right now, so the fabric glue came in really handy. So here are fabric squares, and I'm just going to lay these out in a pleasing grid to me, just 4x4. I mean, this is as easy as it gets. I have a couple that are the same, so I want to be careful not to put them too close together, although you can. You could do this all solid if you wanted to. I just like that scrappy look, as you know, especially if you've been joining me. And there we go. So 4x4. So what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to sew these together. And basically I'm just going to go right down the rows. I'll probably sew them into 4 patches and then sew the 4 patches together. Very simple sewing. So I'm going to just do that really quickly over here on my machine. Alright, so here are the 4 little sections. I'm still working on them. You'll note I didn't keep real good track of where the squares were. It doesn't really matter. I mean, unless it matters to you, of course. But I didn't because it's so scrappy. I just like the way they sort of fall. Except that I know these 2 are the same, and I didn't want those together. That was the only thing. That was the only thing I had. The only caveat, that I had that I wanted. So now I'm going to press these and get ready to piece these bigger sections together. I will pay attention to the pressing. For example, like I'll press this one up, this side up, and then this side down, and I'll also pay attention on the the vertical seams as well, just so they nest nicely when I'm sewing them all together. All right, so now I'm just going to keep piecing. I'm going to go ahead and piece these two together, and then put the whole thing together, and then I'll show you how we quilt it. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to quilt, just make a teeny little mini quilt first off. We're going to prep this all. Watch out, that iron's hot. I almost burned my hand. That would be great, wouldn't it? You're going to lay one piece of that 10-inch square fabric, wrong side facing up, and then you're going to center your batting on top. Does not have to be perfect. Remember, we are cutting out a heart out of this. Here, I'm going to show you real quick. See, you can see that when you print the heart, if you print it at 100% on your printer, the template that I have on my website, it should just fit your scraps, which is perfect. So, but again, you can make your own shape, and you don't have to make a heart if you don't want. But anyway, we're going to center this in, and I am just going to quilt in the ditch. Very easy, very fast. I'm going to take it over to my machine. I'm not even going to change the thread. I have a sort of a turquoise blue thread. So, but I'm going to go ahead and do that really quickly, and when we come back, I'll show you the next step. All right, so this is quilted. Here's the back. I mean, this is as easy as it gets quilting wise. It's not even real straight. It's not the perfect lines or anything like that, but I'm really not worried about it because I am going to be cutting it down. So the next thing we want to do is we're going to make the first heart shape. We're going to make, let me just pull out this one. We make two different sections. We make this front section, and then we make the back section. And let me pull out, let's see, the first thing. So this is all ready to go. We don't want to cut out the heart shape yet. What you're going to do is you're going to take another one of those 10-inch squares and place it right sides facing the quilted part of this. Now, here's the tricky part. You want to draw your circle, your heart, that would be good, and make sure it fits. It's a little hard to see. It was easier on the red, but just want to fit it so it fits all the way around. You're going to take a peek. I think that's good. Make sure it's on the top. The sides are really where I'm worried. Okay. Remember, those are right sides facing, and then I'm going to pin this right here. Just pin it a couple times so it doesn't slip when I'm marking it. There we go. And then I'm going to take a pencil, whoops, right here, and I'm going to mark around it. I need my glasses for this part. The older you get, the older I get, the more I find I need my glasses. It's kind of hard because you're going to find those lumps in the seams. Just sort of eyeball it. This does not have to be a perfect heart project. Okay. All right, so it is, I just lightly marked it with a pencil. I probably wouldn't, usually if I had a water soluble on me, I would use that instead. Just going to take the template off, and I'm actually going to pin it again so it doesn't slip when I'm sewing. And then very simply, I'm going to sew around the entire perimeter, except leave yourself an opening because you're going to turn this inside out, sort of like when you're making certain things. In fact, you may want to mark to remind yourself, because when I was doing this red tester, I had to use the seam ripper and stitch it and pull some seams out because I did it. Actually, I did it twice on this one. I was so mad at myself. It took like an extra 20 minutes. So luckily I was watching TV and I could just pick it out real quick. So I'm just going to mark just for my own sake. You want it big enough because there is a lot of bulk, not a lot, but there's bulk there, so I might actually make it a little bit bigger so you can get that out easily. It does take a little bit of fiddling, but I'm going to go ahead and sew around that whole heart side. I will backstitch down there in the corner and then up here too, just so when you're manipulating it and turning it inside out, those two little, the points don't don't get unraveled. Alright, so here you can see where I've sewn around it. And I've left that gap. There's a little bit of thread. I did tack down those 2 stitches right there. I did do one back stitch right there, just so when I'm turning it inside out. Now, the next thing, of course, is you're going to cut away all of that bulk. So I hope you have good scissors. These are, I'm not sure if these are my best scissors, but cut all that away, leaving about a 1/4 inch seam, or even a little bit less. You want to have as little bulk around the edges as possible. Alright, so here we go. Now it's cut out. I am going to use my snippers and snip way down into that point right there. Careful not to snip through the stitches. Let me make sure I did that, yeah. Because that's where your big bulk, that's always a problem part for me when I do things like this. And I don't do a lot of projects like this, so, and maybe that's why. And then I'm just going to snip down here. I might actually cut off a little bit more down there, just because there's the other problem spot. And again, just snip a little bit more, watching out that you don't go through that seam. And now we're going to just turn this inside out, and that's why we left that hole there. And this will take me a minute. Now, one thing while I'm doing this, I'm just going to use the pencil eraser. I don't want to poke through it, so I won't use that. If you have a tool to turn things inside out, like I said, I just go around the edges carefully that I don't tear anything. I'm also going to press this when I'm done. And this seam, as the back one will, I'll show you in a minute, these all get sewn under when we finish off the piece. Okay. Poke that corner out a little bit. Now I am gonna carefully do it with the pencil tip. Just make a nice sharp heart point, as sharp as it can be. All right, and I'm gonna press this really carefully, and I'm gonna press these in. Hopefully you can see that. Just fold those in. It's hard with my thumb being taped like this. Boy, I tell you, don't ever cut your thumb. Don't get stitches in your thumb. Just going to line that up and press that when I'm pressing. There we go. Hopefully that's good. There we go. That's more round. All right, so that's the front part of the pouch. So now we're going to do the same thing on the back side, and this is easier because we're just using the fabric. And you're going to take those final 2 pieces of the 10-inch squares, right sides together. Line them up, and then we're just going to trace that heart on there again. All right, so that is traced, and I'm just going to pin these together. Remember, we put them right sides together. And again, I'm going to leave a small opening here, and I'm going to mark it for myself to remind myself, and just sort of do a tagging stitch, a back stitch right there. Just one is no big deal. And then here at each point too, that'll help you. Alrighty, so here's our little heart. And we're going to, again, turn these 2 edges in, where the opening is. You're going to turn those in about a 1/4 inch and press that all together so it's one nice seam that gets sewn together when we sew the whole piece together. A little bit rounder. Okay, and then, so there's your back. So this is going to be the back of the heart. Let me move these things out of the way. And then this is the easy part. We're going to put these wrong sides facing, although they are, you want this side facing out. And you're going to lay them on top of each other and hopefully they fit pretty well together. And they should. And then you're going to just pin on both sides. Just like so. And then you're going to sew around. And you don't want to sew the whole thing because you want to have that nice pouch at the top. You're just going to start, and my rule of thumb is I just sort of start right about here, right where the edge of that curve, right where that curve just sort of starts turning in. And I will definitely back stitch there, give myself some nice safety stitches there. And then I will eyeball it. In fact, I'll probably mark it. Just, you know, you can figure out how big you want your opening to be, but I think it's just when that corner, let me flip it around, just when that corner flips around, starts going towards the inside, is when I do my starting and ending stitches. So I'm going to take that over the machine and then I'll show you what it looks like. The one thing is I'm just going to do an easy top stitch around it. You could do some really pretty, I know my machine has some heart stitches too, which would be really pretty on this. But just for today I'm going to do top stitching, but a real pretty decorative stitch would add so much to this. All right, so here we are. Here's our fun little pouch. You can leave it like this and just put a little gift bag in it or something, but we want to dress it up a little bit. Like this one. Here's the red one. I'm going to leave that out so you can see it. And you also want to cover up. I don't know what it is. I'm sure there's a better way to do these points. My points never come out real well. I don't do a lot of this kind of sewing, so that's probably why. Like I said earlier, I have some rickrack here. Now, normally what I would do, the first thing I would do is put the strap on, and I would sew that to the inside or outside. In fact, in this one, I sewed the ribbon. I'm going to move this up. I'm bound and determined I'm going to knock that over. So for the ribbon, I actually put it on the outside and covered it with a button, and you can do that. In fact, that's the problem right now. Like I said before, is I cut my thumb and I'm not supposed to really push on it, so I can't do any hand stitching, which is really hard when you're a quilter. I can't bind any of my quilts right now. So what I would do is I would stitch this in, and I would do it with a button on top. I'll just sort of show you what it's going to look like. And I apologize for this. I can't believe I did that. I was cutting vegetables and right through the thumb. Anyway, I would stitch it right here, just like so, and you can see it on the red one. Very easy. You don't need to do a lot of stitches either. I imagine you're not going to put anything too heavy in this. So once you have that added, and this I can do with fabric glue, is just if you want to add like another button here or a little bow, I'm just going to put that on really quickly. The fabric glue is no problem. It's the stitches. Ugh. And it takes forever for this to heal. It's been like 3 weeks already. So there you have it. There's my Scrappy heart bag. This one's all glued down, so I don't want to touch it right now. Here you go. Nice little pouch you can put things in. Just a fun and easy little make. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Working Our Scraps Off. It's my YouTube series where I do a tutorial a month. You can find companion blog posts, and sometimes it has a pattern attached, sometimes not. In this case, it's going to have the heart-shaped template that you need. You can find that all on my website, www.createwithclaudia.com. If you like Scrappy projects, free tutorials, quilt tips, that sort of thing, make sure you subscribe. I love new subscribers. Thank you so much. Also, make sure to hit that bell. That way you're notified every time I do a new video and every time another Working Our Scraps Off series episode is coming up. And over on Facebook, and I'll have a link to that in my description of the video, is a group called Working Our Scraps Off, and it's getting bigger and bigger every month, or every day I get new people wanting to join. It's a lot of fun. It's all scrappy. Everybody shares all kinds of different projects, including their versions of things that I show you on my videos. So head over there and join that group if you'd like. It's a lot of fun. Thank you so much for watching. Keep working all of those scraps off, and have a great day.